This year, our industry will break $1 trillion in semiconductor revenue globally. And to put that in perspective, in 2020, we were at $400 billion and projecting that we would grow 2.5 times in this decade and make it by 2030. And the great news is we're doing it this year. So a huge industry like ours will break $1 trillion in revenue this year. And we're very much dependent upon a very complex supply chain, of which there's very sound roots here in the state of Michigan. So we've got wafer production here in Michigan where things start off. We have some of the most essential equipment suppliers here in the state of Michigan and a number of material suppliers who find their home and manufacture those products in Michigan. And then, of course, one of the most interesting growing markets for semiconductors is it's the world headquarters for automotive is here. And the beauty of automotive for semiconductors, every type of semiconductor that we make finds its way into automobiles. As Linda mentioned earlier today, the average car has 1,000 to 1,200 chips in it today, and the most advanced EVs have 3,000 chips. So every type of chip, from our basic sensing chips to the most complex chips that we make that drive the autonomous driving options that are available today in cars, happens in our industry and is consumed here in the state of Michigan. And we are very privileged today to have the 49th governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, join us on the stage to share a few words.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here with all of you. I want to thank Joe for the introduction and for the work that is happening and everyone who was a part of making this conference happen. Welcome to Detroit. I know I got a lot of Michiganders here, but if you are not a Michigander, we're absolutely glad to have you here today. And I appreciate the work that everyone in this room is doing on this important moment in our economy, in our world. It's important to be nimble. It's important to recognize all the different components that make all of this possible. And so I'm thrilled to have you all here in the Motor City. You know, both cars and semiconductors were invented by enterprising innovators who had the same goal: connection. Right now, there is a global race to mine the materials, make the components, and assemble the products that will connect us for generations to come. The post-pandemic chip shortage showed us that to win this race, to grow our economy, to protect our national security, we need to onshore semiconductor supply chain. Today, I want to talk about Michigan's unique ability to both think and build and how that will help us do exactly that. We all know the big role that these tiny semiconductors play in every aspect of our society. From the time semiconductors were invented in the 1940s to the end of the 20th century, the U.S. pioneered and led semiconductor manufacturing. Obviously, with changing market conditions in the earliest part of the 21st century, that started to change. Companies spun off or outsourced their fabs to other parts of the globe. Supply chains grew kinks or bottlenecks. We saw that firsthand. The American share of global semiconductor manufacturing plummeted. And for a long time, there were 0 logic and DRAM chips, 2 of the most advanced types that we all rely on. According to the Center for Strategic International Studies, our manufacturing capacity is now just 8%. We still dominate research and development, thinking, but we ceded ground in the building, the actual hardware, to other nations. And we've seen the devastating consequences of that shift. In 2020, we all saw it. Due to supply chain disruptions from COVID-19, we saw lead times for chips explode. Auto companies stopped production lines. I can tell you, at the governor's residence, I live right near one of General Motors' plants. I saw the cars stacking up in the lots because they did not have chips. Prices on phones, computers, and appliances all went up just as autos did. The chip shortage forced us to think seriously about the vulnerabilities of our supply chains. And most importantly, it revealed that making more chips isn't just about economic growth. It's a national security imperative. If we can't make chips, We can't use the literal equipment from supercomputers to fighter jets, things that are vital to our national security. So thankfully, Republicans and Democrats and industry leaders came together to do something about it. Congress passed bipartisan legislation to bring chip manufacturing back home. I'm grateful to so many in our congressional delegation who joined Michigan in sending letters, organizing, and fighting to get this done. Nationally, we're seeing real progress. We're on track to make between 10% of the world's logic chips and 20% of the DRAM chips. That's up from 0. So that's progress. According to the U.S., across the U.S., we're building over a dozen chip fabs all across the country, with more in the pipeline. We're on a path to $1 trillion in global semiconductor revenue by 2030. Michigan is ready to seize on this opportunity. While other states shifted their sole focus to thinking, Michigan continues to think and build. That's what we do. We have the highest concentration of engineers in the nation and 3 of the top 10 metro areas for people with the skills needed to build semiconductor chips. Our auto industry is the largest end market for semiconductors in the world. Our new factories are making batteries, cars, and components that are opening all across the state of Michigan. At Michigan Central and New Lab, innovators, entrepreneurs are building commercial drones that will deliver medicines and auto parts. And for the first time in over a century, a new bridge will open connecting Michigan to Canada, the Gordie Howe International Bridge, if you haven't seen it. We're making history as the first state ever to restart a nuclear power plant, and we are leading the way on AI infrastructure. More people are moving into Michigan than out of it for the first time since the 90s. The rest of the world can learn a lesson from Michigan. When we build, we succeed. And that's why we've made historic investments to bring semiconductor supply chains back home. If building chips is the problem, I would submit Michigan is the answer. We worked across the aisle to equip our state with powerful tools to win transformational projects. And that includes the Michigan Innovation Fund, the R&D tax credit, so that we can launch Michigan startups and create good-paying jobs. We cut red tape to help companies get shovels into the ground quicker on major projects. We also launched 3 major initiatives on semiconductors. We collaborated with the Semi Foundation for a Semiconductor Career Apprenticeship Network. This is a pilot program that is creating customized training to teach workers the skills needed to build chips. We created semiconductor talent action teams to connect companies with skilled workforce. And finally, we joined the University of Michigan, Washtenaw Community College, KLA, General Motors, IMAC, and more to set up the Michigan Semiconductor Talent and Technology Automotive Research, MSTAR. This is an initiative that's bringing the best minds together to collaborate on growing semiconductor manufacturing. MSTAR has tools ranging from training labs to incubator funding to R&D infrastructure. They're partnering with the largest semiconductor companies right here in the state of Michigan. So speaking of those semiconductor companies, we're winning key projects up and down the supply chain. SK Siltron created 150 good-paying jobs in Bay City, manufacturing silicon wafers. These are the building blocks. Like I'm telling you, you all know this better than anybody. These are the building blocks, though, of electric vehicles, smartphones, solar panels, and more. Their technology improves our lives by increasing the range for electric vehicles and improving battery life. KLA created 600 good-paying jobs in Ann Arbor with a huge new research and development center that includes a clean room for development of semiconductor tools. Hemlock Semiconductor created 180 good-paying jobs manufacturing hyper-pure polysilicon, which is in nearly every electronic device in the world. You're never more than 6 feet away from a Michigan-made polysilicon. And these are high-tech, good-paying jobs that can sustain families and create the kind of opportunity for Michiganders for decades. So let me be clear. Michigan is ready to keep winning these types of opportunities. We are ready to be a good partner to ensure that the future is built here and that there is an opportunity for everyone. We have the tools, talent, and we have the sites to compete for high-tech semiconductor jobs here in Michigan. So I'm proud of the work that we've done together to grow our semiconductor industry. In my last year as governor, I'm determined to make sure we keep our foot on the accelerator. But we can only continue this progress and win this race for the future if we think and build together. Collaboration is how we dominated manufacturing in the last century, and it's how we will do it again. Let's work together on the workforce, the tools, and the resources to bring supply chains home. Let's work together to grow our economy and create good-paying jobs for communities. And let's work together to win the semiconductor race and create a bright future for Michigan, for the Heartland, for beyond the Midwest, but of course, centering on the Midwest. I thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I hope that what you heard today from me and from other speakers is an open hand to extend friendship and opportunity and look for ways that we can grow together. Your success is our success as well, and good partnerships is how we solve the world's problems. So thank you so much for having me and giving me a few minutes of your time. Thank you.